Sorry, I was muted. Hi, everybody. I'm going to give everyone just a few more minutes to get filed on in here. I know that I just turned everything on, so you'll have to forgive me. I think my voice is going out again. I lost my voice, what was it? Thursdays? No, it was Sunday, Saturday or Sunday when the Tumble Monkeys came back because I was like screaming that much. I think it's going back out again. I think that coupled with having some trouble breathing with all the heat earlier today out at the resort, it was a little crazy. So you'll have to forgive me if I sound a little funny. Hey, Sandy. Hi, Natalie. How are you? I'm sorry if you all had comments before that you were commenting on. I can't see them in this way here. Hey, Jason. How are you? Oh my goodness, I feel so loved. Thank you all so much for showing up for us. I know this is a topic that everyone's kind of been asking for a while with Disney Vacation Club, learning more about it, um, learning, all the things on how you get involved in that, and maybe even some of the ways. I'd like to touch on some of the ways that we use our membership, and maybe a couple of things we probably would have done a little differently had we had a chance to do it over. Hey, Stacy. No worries. No worries. I'm so glad to see you all here. Hey, Lindsay. Barbara's got us a weather update. She said it's 87, but feels like 97, and there is definitely some thunder in the area. So I'm kind of glad that we had this scheduled for today and we weren't actually going out in the parks. Hello, Miss Audrey. How are you? So yeah, I hope everybody is having a fantastic afternoon. I hope you're staying safe and cool. Please make sure you're staying hydrated no matter where you're at. It sounds like Orlando's not the only place that is being really, really hot. And it's very, very easy to underestimate exactly how hot it is and how tired you or your body may be. So please be aware of that and make sure that you're staying as hydrated as possible. Hey, Julie. Hi. Cool. So I guess let's get started. I'm going to dig into our mail first. I don't have a whole lot, which is fine. It just kind of is what it is. But I did want to show off all of your all's different pieces of mail. Nancy, hi. Yesterday was your birthday. Oh, well, happy birthday. You'll have to join us. Let's see. I think we've already done the Well Birth anniversary for this month, but going into August, I think we settled on the second fireworks Friday of every month now for Well Birth anniversaries. So yeah, congratulations, happy birthday. Oh, Stacy said I'm excited to hear about DVC. I've wondered about how it works for a while. Yeah, there's a lot to it. So feel free to put in your questions. I know I've had a few questions already, but feel free as we're talking about it. I'll pause a couple places too. And ask you all if you have questions on that before we keep moving forward. So, hi, Becky. How are you? I keep saying hi to everybody, so if I miss you, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to go ahead and get started and try and be as respectful of your time as possible. So the first one I have here is from Julie Hunter, and Julie's got this wonderful butterfly that she enclosed here on her card. It's really shiny. It's like three-dimensional. It's super cool. So thank you, Julie, for that. Know that I did get this. And I have opened it before, full disclosure, so I might skip over a few parts, but just like with her three-dimensional butterfly down back here, we've got the butterflies on the card as well. No worries, Alicia. I'm glad to see you here. So Becky had enclosed a peanut butter bars recipe in here. So we definitely need to go ahead and see about making those. We've got some things going on here that might not happen for a few more weeks for any more cooking videos because we're moving. So we found another home, and that's kind of been a new development here. So just know that we'll get around to some more cooking things here in just a little bit. It says, "Dear Myranda, thank you for your great lives. I love watching the fireworks on my TV. Don't ever give up. Enjoy the recipe. Love, Julie." So thank you, Julie. We appreciate you so much. I'm sorry. I promise I'll try and do better with my voice. This one was from Debbie King. It says, "You're a special blessing." Oh, so sweet. And Debbie also sent a recipe. It said pork chops and rice, and it's pretty extensive here. So thank you, Debbie, for that. We'll definitely have to work on this recipe as well. This was back in Easter. I know it's been a little while since we did this one. "Dear Miranda, I hope you have a blessed Easter. Just wanted to let you know that I'm thinking about you. That's amazing. I love you and your family. With love, Debbie King. So thank you, Debbie, if you happen to be seeing this. So thank you for your wonderful mail. Hi, Robin. Hey, Megan. You're off to the airport. Congratulations. Have so much fun and safe travels to you. Oh, Julie, we love you too. This one is from Kathy Tillman, and she always has some really fun, like, different closures and emblems here. This one, I think, was like almost a Hallmark card because it was a gold thing. And it was also an Easter card. So you can see the little Mickey, and it's super shiny. It says Happy Easter. And it said, hope Easter's sweet magic will brighten your day in all kinds of happy and wonderful ways. Miranda, Jonathan, and kids, wishing you all a joyous and fun Easter. Love, Kathy and Jim. So thank you so much, Kathy and Jim. We really appreciate getting your cards too. So thank you all. The next one I have is actually from Barbara. She was a little bored and just happened to find a postcard here for me, and this is from Mexico. So very, very cool. She said, I just found this postcard when I was looking for some paperwork, and I'm just bored, so I just thought I'd send it to you. That's literally what it says on the opposite side here. But thank you so much, Barbara, for the lovely postcard. We really appreciate that. But it's got a beautiful picture here to it, right? It's almost like it was your own picture, though, Barbara. Like, I don't know that. I know it says that it's from like an extra place, but yeah, it was cool. Very cool. Hi, Kathy. That's okay, Stacy. Thank you so much for sending that. We'll definitely be on the look for it, for sure. And let's see, who was this one from? This one was from Courtney. All right, Courtney's also super cute. Says thank you. Got some flowers on it. Oh, this is cool. She even sent me a postcard within this from the Badlands National Park. Apparently she was going through some adventures of her own, taking a camping trip, and she decided to send me a postcard here from the Badlands. That was really, really cool. So check that out. I'd love to get out there myself and see some of that. And then I believe she also included, let's see. Yeah, she included a recipe as well, so thank you so much for that. Wanted to thank you for the sweet card and the necklaces. Oh, you're welcome, Courtney. I absolutely love them. See you on the next ride. Oh, well, thank you all so much. So, yeah, this mail is a little old from like March, April, but I wanted to have a few more kind of stacked up so that way we could go over it. And then last but not least, Miss Audrey was amazing and sent me out something as well, because I'm sure you all know all of my love for Loungeflies. And she just went totally above and beyond here. So Audrey, thank you for this so much. Hi, Amy and Wesley. Sorry, I'm trying to deal with this. So full disclosure, because we're moving, I've already opened this up, but then I've had to like tape it back twice. So I was having to rip through the tape that I just ripped through. Hi, Hassan. Yeah, we're back. So I wanted to show you all what Audrey had sent to me. Audrey had sent me this beautiful bag, and I don't know if she realized this or not, but it did come with other ears. So I have some Christmas ears with these super cute candy and gingerbread people, but Audrey sent me a Loungefly. Look how amazing it is. It's got like the Mickey and Minnie style in the gingerbread people, and this one actually has the 2 zippers too, right up here. So it's got the suspender straps for the ears to go in. So you can see some of the sweets and treats here. And right here, you can see they're like hidden Mickeys on the inside, but these little straps are for the ears. So yeah, super cute. Now, Audrey, full disclosure, I'm sure everybody knows here by now that I'm going to be going to the very first Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. So I will be taking those and this set of ears along with me. So you'll have to be looking for it. But now I have 2 sets of ears to go right along with the gingerbread bag. And it looks like almost like a candy coating here with the little ribbon. You can see the candy cane detailing there on the ears. Yeah, super, super cute. It even says Disney Loungefly on the side of it. So thank you so much, Audrey. Aren't they super cute? And it comes with the bag to keep them in. So Oh man, I am blessed. You all are amazing. So thank you so, so, so much. And thank you everybody that has sent us in recipes and just general hello cards and postcards. And even if you're bored, Barbara just cleaning everything out. And thank you to everybody that has already donated to our channel as well, whether that be through super chats or through the PayPal account. You, I can't thank you enough. So thank you so, so much for doing all that and being so amazing and helping us grow our community. So thank you all again. Now that we have most of the mail done and out of the way, and I've shown that off to you, I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor to you. I'm going to give you a few minutes and kind of ramble on myself. If you have any outstanding questions about Disney Vacation Club, go ahead and put them in the chat for me. I may click over here too on my phone and see if I can re-reference the post that I originally made on the page about this, because I think there was a few of you all that had questions already there. And I want to make sure that I can address everyone's questions. That's awesome, Hassan. You got an award? You got it from Mickey Monthly. Oh, that's interesting. Very cool. Very, very cool. Oh, thank you all so much. Okay, so I'm scrolling as I'm talking. So if my train of thought kind of drifts off, my apologies there. So I want to make sure I'm getting all the questions here. So our journey with Disney Vacation Club started a couple years back, and we are now proud owners of multiple locations. And when I say by locations, we have multiple home resorts. So we'll get into that here in just a little bit. But full disclosure, it is not my job to sell you Disney Vacation Club. I just happen to know about it and want to share what knowledge I have on it with you, talk with you a little bit more on it. Hi, Henry. How are you? Happy Wednesday. I'm thinking I almost said that and I almost said Thursday. So happy Wednesday. Um, but I just want to pass along what information I have about Disney Vacation Club with you so you can make maybe a little bit more informed decision on it if you choose to talk with any more guides about what that journey might look like for you, if that's something that might work to your benefit. So um, I know I referenced it a lot on the streams and in our vlogs, and we use our points quite often. So I'm sure I probably left a couple of you all scratching your head going, what exactly is that and how does that work? So, in short, Disney Vacation Club, or DVC, sometimes as it is generally known, is Disney's version of a timeshare. So instead of what used to be, and I'm thinking on like old timeshares because my parents have owned multiple timeshares here in Florida. It's how we vacationed so often in Florida was through timeshares. So if you think back to the old way, and I say old way of Disney Vacation Club. Oh. So if you think back to that old way of Disney Vacation Club, then or I'm sorry, of timeshares, you're probably thinking and referencing like a full set week somewhere, right? And no one, that's no worries. Most people tend to vacation for a week at a time. And this is not to rag on that at all. I loved vacationing for a week at a time. Hi, Christine. It's just not how my family chooses to vacation at this point anymore. So when timeshares in general kind of rolled around and decided that they were going to switch to a points system rather than a set week at a specific location, that started working a lot more in terms of flexibility for not just my family and the family I have now, like not just my parents and everything. So it started working for a lot of folks and being more flexible. So that being said, Disney Vacation Club, I believe, was the very first company, Disney was, to come up with a solution for that. Instead of having a set week at a deeded real estate interest at a property, they came up with this whole structure for points. So what essentially you do is whenever you buy into Disney Vacation Club, there's a set cost per point. And they don't get anything crazy. I know that there are some timeshares out there that have thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of points. Hi, Shoshana. How are you? But they don't go anything crazy. Most of their point system is relatively very small and very easy to deal with and look at. Um, yeah, Henry, we can definitely get into that here in just a second. He said, I heard the bus company that took over the buses from the airport play the original videos they traveled from the airport. Is that true? They did. When it was the Magical Express, unfortunately, Disney no longer owns the Magical Express. But maybe Mears plays that video. I'm not totally certain. I'll have to check into that. Mears Transportation is the company that is running that now. So Disney came up with that solution with the points. So essentially, when you buy into a timeshare, you've bought into a deeded real estate interest of that particular property, right? So technically, we own like a blade of grass at a Disney resort or two, depending on how you look at it. You can buy as many as you want to, but in order to get into the company, into the timeshare program, they've kind of upped their window on what that looks like in your first initial investment into the timeshare there. So um, here's that kind of what led up to that. The way we were vacationing at Disney just didn't make a whole lot of sense for what we were paying. And that ended up kind of being a spark to a conversation between myself and my husband where we were like, you know, we're paying X amount for a value resort, which is kind of the most budget friendly options here on Walt Disney World property right now for a night or 2 nights. Let's go and look into this because we've got a rather large family, and the Disney Vacation Club rooms tend to hold larger rooms of families. And let's just look at it. Let's just go and hear them out. Let's hear what they have to say and see if this is something that could work for us. Thank you, Barbara, for the hot dog. So that sparked a conversation. And if you've ever been in the Walt Disney World resorts or the parks, you've probably seen either a tent or a kiosk of some sort where you can kind of walk up to these people, usually in like blue shirts. They're either handing out stickers or handing out buttons, and they're more than happy to talk to you about Disney Vacation Club. Now, when we bought in, or when we started having these conversations with these folks, that was back in the time that fast passes were still around. So we got pulled in Animal Kingdom because they were giving out fast passes that you could use. So they, in exchange for your time and going for these presentations, Disney Vacation Club was saying, okay, we know that we're taking you out of the parks for a little while to come and see this presentation and talk to us. In exchange for that, we'll give you 3 fast passes. And at the time, let's see, Flight of Passage was really popular. So you couldn't use them on the super popular ride for Flight of Passage unless you agreed to the presentation in Animal Kingdom. So that was going to be the only way that we got those fast passes for Flight of Passage. So we agreed. We're like 90 minutes, we can do it. They're going to give us a drink and, we're going to cool down for a little while and we'll come right back to the parks. At worst, we'll get some information. So when we bought in, they had a set number of points that you had to buy. I think the minimum number for our time was around 100 points. And each of those points have a set cost. Now, you can choose to finance your initial purchase. I think they go anywhere between 10 to 14% interest. You can always go and refinance anywhere else that you want to if that's your decision. And you can also purchase cash. But it's like owning real estate here with DVC, right? So with Disney Vacation Club. So you own a part of the deed to one of the Disney resorts when you buy in. So on your contract, you choose what they call a home resort, right? So your home resort is where your deed states that is your initial buy-in. Now, that doesn't mean that you always have to use your points there at that home resort. Disney allows for several different resorts to choose from. Most of those are deluxe resorts. So you're getting to stay at the top, right? So most of those deluxe resorts are eligible on the Disney Vacation Club program. You basically exchange your points in for a night stay or a weekend stay. You can use those as flexibly as you want to. So we bought in enough points to kind of comfortably stay what we thought we could try. So we bought, I think, 125 points initially. And then we bought more points. That'll bring me to another point later. Let's see. I think I had a question. DVC people didn't seem too pushy at all during our last trip. Don't think we got asked once, unlike my parents' timeshare company. Absolutely. Unfortunately, Shoshana, I have been in several several timeshare presentations where those folks are very pushy. And that's something that I can also attest to. Disney Vacation Club has never been very pushy with us. In fact, they asked us after our presentation to take some time, go home and think about it, because here you are, you're on vacation, you're wrapped up in the magic, you're wrapped up by all these glamorous resorts, and they want to make sure that you're making the right decision and the right investment for you, right? So when it came down to it, what we would be spending on a loan for these points initially kind of factored out to the same cost as what we were spending monthly for 1 or 2 nights at Disney's Pop Century Resort or a value resort. So it made sense for us as a growing family, because Nat was very, very little, that we needed more space. And in order to get more space, we were going to either have to go for those larger rooms and pay cash for those, or we were going to have to split up in 2 separate rooms. So on top of that, if we could potentially stay in one of the swankier rooms at the deluxe resorts, have more resort-like amenities for when we did come in, and still keep all of our family under one resort room, it just made a whole lot of sense, and still continue to pay as much as what we were paying already for cash rooms. So we kind of went ahead and said, all right, we're in. So there is an initial investment. You'll pay a deposit or a down payment for it. There is a closing that happens there with their sales team and with their managers. They're going to ask you multiple times over, are you sure you're agreeing to this? I believe there's a 10-day stipulation once you agree to the timeshare program that you can completely rescind it. No, no faults given. They'll just rip up the contract. You'll get back any kind of money that you initially paid. So once everything is signed and closed, just like a normal house or apartment transaction when you purchase real estate, then you'll get that back if you decide against purchasing with Disney Vacation Club. So essentially what we did is we made the decision that it was the right thing for us. And we bought into our points. So right away, they'll teach you how to work the system. Unfortunately, there's not an app similar to the My Disney experience. It's just all a website. So when you choose a home resort, I will say it doesn't matter where your home resort is. Usually your home resort is for wherever they are actually selling at that point in time, wherever they still have availability. I think right now it's Aulani in Hawaii and Disney's Riviera Resort. So your home resort would be either one of those 2 locations. So we bought in and they loaded up our points for us, and we were able to start booking things already in advance. And one of the really great perks to that was we weren't paying a $200 deposit for our package. We were not paying for a room only reservation, which if you have rooms in succession, different rooms per night, it was always the first night up front, and then you pay the rest at the resort if you have multiple nights there. So that saved us. We didn't have any room up or any money due up front for making those reservations. You can cancel them rather, increasingly once you get closer to the dates of travel, and then those points go into a holding if it's too close. So you can cancel, got a window to cancel. If you're outside that window, you just get your points back. If you're canceling within a shorter time window, similar to how, like, if you were to cancel your package with that $200 deposit with Walt Disney World, then you would lose the deposit. Well, it's similar to that, except you don't lose your points. They just go into holding. So you have a set amount of time, I believe it's through the rest of the end of that year, to use those points in holding. So that way you use all those years' points, or you do lose them. Let's see. Christine said, I really fear timeshare presentations. Unfortunately, we got pulled into one, and it was torture. While in Portugal for 3 hours of our holiday, we missed. Oh, we said we'd like to think about it, but we said no. And basically, they kicked us and gave us a bottle of wine and said bye. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. No, so Disney Vacation Club was awesome. They drove us out from Animal Kingdom in the backhand side, drove us over to Disney Saratoga Springs Resort, which is where their preview center is. We went through their whole presentation with them there. And because we bought in, it was a little bit longer process because we had a lot of paperwork to sign and things of that nature. And then they drove us back to Animal Kingdom right where they picked us back up. Stacy said, what are your benefits at your home resort? Oh, I'm getting into that. Good question. Yeah, so that's the thing, Robin. You can make monthly payments. You can pay it all in full. I think when we last look, it was $210 per point right now. I'll let you do the math on that. It's significantly higher than what we paid in for ours. And I think right now the minimum to buy into Disney Vacation Club is 150 points. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what I last saw. 210 per point and 150. Now that will vary by location. So yes, you can either take a loan, like Disney will finance that for you, or you can choose your own financial institution, like a third party, to finance that through if you want to refinance it. But yes, you can make monthly payments towards that. If you do that through Disney, it's a 10-year loan. So once your loan's paid for, your points are paid for. It's a 50-year contract, 50 years, right? 50-year contract. If something were to happen to me and my husband, something were to happen to me and Jonathan, my kids would get that, or they would not have to. That was something different because when my dad passed and we were settling his estate, there were other timeshares here in Orlando that said we had to take over that month, that maintenance due. And I'll tell you a little bit more on that here in just a second. But that was not a contract we ever agreed to. So Disney has actually told us, we'll buy it back from you if you decide that you don't want it. You're welcome to resell it. You're welcome to let your kids have it if you want to deed that to them once they get to be of age, or if something were to happen to you and your 50 years is not up. But once that 50 years is up, they're under no obligation to renew anything. Hopefully we can, enjoy the full 50 years there, but I don't know that's the plan for us, but that's kind of hopefully our thought process on it. So your time frame on that 50 years starts when they start selling that particular property. So when they were selling Copper Creek, we got 50 years on Copper Creek. Okay. When we bought into Riviera, which was our second home contract, we got 50 years on Riviera. Now you can do a resale process where you purchase a resort that's already been sold for quite some time. Let's take Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, for example, right? So that one, the Polynesian villas and the bungalows have been for sale for several years. If there were to be a contract that Disney buys back and we say, hey, we want that contract, we can buy that contract directly from Disney, but that will shorten our amount of years because it will go by that initial date of when that was sold. So I think that's coming up on like 9 years or so. So we would be short 9 years in that 50 years. Does that make sense? Let's see. Can you cancel anytime? You can. You can cancel anytime. If you want to give up the program altogether, it's kind of one thing that we've been talking about with Riviera. We've not been terribly pleased with it. That's a whole nother conversation. But if you get to a point where you're not pleased with your membership, Disney has said, hey, all we ask is if you're not pleased with it, you give us a chance to make it right. If we can't make it right, we still want to sell it, no worries. What we can do is have a right of first refusal. So what that means is Disney will make you an offer to purchase it back from you. If that's not a satisfactory enough offer, you're more than welcome to go to some of the resale sites and ask for their assistance in helping you sell that timeshare. But absolutely, they're willing to let you out of it at any point in time. Good question. Good question. Yeah, so once our points are paid for over that 10-year loan, or if you pay it off early, because you can go and refinance it elsewhere, you can pay it off early and it's fine. The only thing that you'll owe for the remainder of those 40 years, I'm just using 40 because the 10-year loan, if you take it through Disney, is your annual maintenance dues. Now that gets a little tricky because that's going to vary by resort. So whenever you go and have these conversations with the Disney Vacation Club reps, it's very helpful to ask them, what are the annual maintenance dues on this particular property versus some of the other properties? They have a whole list. They break it down for you. There are clauses in their contracts where those can go up by a certain percentage each year, up to. But I think ours was just a little over 1,000 for the whole year. So if you think about it, we get to stay at Disney's deluxe resorts for, once our loan is paid off on our properties, for $1,200, $1,600 a year. I mean, it's amazing. And we can also gift those resort stays. So if I have family coming in and we don't want to necessarily bother them, or if you have somebody else, friends that are coming in, then they can use your points and you put them as the lead guest on the reservation. You don't have to bother them. They can even join you if you want to, and your room accommodates for that many people. So you've got a lot of flexibility there with it. On average, how many points a night to stay? Good question. I believe it is $210 a point, Natalie. Hey, Nicole, I hope you're having a great night too. Oh, Sandy said, if you buy points, say for Riviera, would it be more money per point versus, say, Art of Animation? Great question. So I'm going to break your question down in a couple different parts. I'm going to start with the bottom half first. Art of Animation is a value resort. So they're not going to be so Disney has a value resort category for their resorts, then the moderate, and then the deluxe. Disney Vacation Club was built for these deluxe resorts. So you get the more plush, posh stays at their resorts. You can, so I'm getting a little technical here. If you buy points directly from Disney, right? Hear me out. Directly from Disney, if you buy points there, you can use your points at other resorts. So if you are just diehard and I absolutely have to stay at Art of Animation, they can make it happen for you and using your points. It's called the Disney Collection. I will say that it's not a very good use of your points. So you'll want to look at that. You'll see that when you become a member and see the points charts. You can even Google them. I think I've got some here in a few more of the slides. So I want to show you what that looks like here in just a little bit. But Riviera would typically be less points, I would seem to think, than Art of Animation in that degree, because they're built to accommodate those deluxe stays. So on average, good question, Robin. On average, how many points a night to stay? So if I were to take that and I say, you'll see us stay at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge a lot because we try to be as savvy with these points a lot. You'll find your caveats to some of these resorts that have been around for a little while. Their points tend to be a little cheaper. Disney Vacation Club just recently, within like the past 2 years or so, did a shakeup where they rearranged points. So they all go by seasonality, similar to how the pricing structure is for tickets and resorts. So you'll see, obviously, Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, all of those times will be more points. But times during January, February, May, September, all of those times that kids are in school or the seasons are changing and stuff, they tend to dip in points value. I think Animal Kingdom has been the cheapest that we've ever encountered. You can get some resort value stays there for 8 points a night. Now those will hold 4 in an infant. So right now we have to be really careful because we have to actually have a 2-bedroom or higher there. But when we were a family of 4 and an infant, it made great sense for us to stay there. We could stay there for a whole month on 150 points, well over. But they've even got some concierge rooms. So if you've always wanted to try a concierge room out, I highly recommend renting someone's Disney Vacation Club points, seeing what that experience looks like and where those are available. Yeah, 31,500. Yeah, I agree, Natalie. They're not cheap by any means. So I'm going to show you this here too. Now, this is a new tower here for Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. These are the plans. So if you're familiar with the Spirit of Aloha dinner show, this is what is replacing that little patch of land between Disney's Polynesian Village Resort and the Grand Floridian. I'm really hoping that they bring back some kind of luau show in the meantime, but who knows? That's TBD. But this is an example. It looks very similar to the Riviera or the Grand Destino Tower at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort. So this is the new section to the Polynesian villas that will be going there. Now, each Disney Vacation Club section has point systems here, and I really wish I could do better here in blowing this up for you all. So if we look on the points chart, and it may be very, very small for you to see, I will try and post this a little bit later for you. But one night at Disney's Polynesian Villas and Bungalows for a weekend is 24 points. In October or November, December seems to dip a little bit. That's kind of our take there too. During the week, those go down to 21 points a night. So comfortably, these are bigger deluxe studio rooms. I know you've probably seen us stay in these a little bit more. They sleep 5 and an infant. But the rooms here are 21 to 24 points a night. That's pretty typical for deluxe studios. They can range anywhere between 8 or so points to about 30, just depending on where you're at. Yeah, so your points can go a long way then, right, Stacy? So no worries, Christine. Maybe you can check in with us a bit later tomorrow, like when we finish this up, so that way you can hear all the information. Yeah, there are ways to stretch your points. And then I think I'm going to blow your mind a little bit, because you might get to a point where you say, oh man, I need more points. Disney will allow you to borrow your next year's points. I know. So you could potentially double your point income for the same use year if you don't see yourself going to Disney the next year, right? So this program was built for people that were going to Disney on a rather frequent or an infrequent basis. So that way they could see what that availability looks like and then be able to borrow those points and not have to front up any kind of cost for those. Additionally, it kind of works the opposite way. If you find yourself saying, you know, we really wanted to go to Disney and just didn't work out, we weren't able to stay as long this time, or we just didn't need as many points, they have a situation where you can bank your points. So based on the use year for your contract, right? Whenever you sign, starts your use year over. So you have a specific month based on your use year that you can bank your points. That means that whatever points, let's say we had 100 points, right? And we only used 50 of them. We would only have until the remainder of that year to use our points. Otherwise, we would need to bank those remaining 50 points. But that's okay, because that means that those points can be used the next year. So we just either get a longer stay or maybe a better room, different kind of category. There's going to be different categories in the room view too. So you're going to have standard view rooms. You're going to have lakefront or water view rooms. You're going to have theme park view rooms at Disney's Contemporary Resort for Bay Lake Tower or the Grand Floridian Villas. Let's see, the bungalows cost a crap ton of points. I think those are like 800 points a night. Don't quote me on that, but they're pretty swanky there. Also, you're going to have different room categories, like a resort value room at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, or deluxe studio, which typically mimics a resort style room setup where you have either a queen size bed and a sleeper sofa and a trundle bed, or just a queen size bed and a sleeper sofa that kind of pulls out. So it either holds 4 and an infant or 5 and an infant, depending on how big that room is at that resort. Then you move on up to the 1 bedrooms, which means that they have a dedicated full kitchen, right? It's going to be a little smaller, but it's going to have a full kitchen. All the rooms up until that point have just got a small kitchenette. You might have a coffee pot, maybe a toaster, and that's really going to be it. So if you're looking for a full kitchen and laundry in your room, you need to book a 1 bedroom or higher. So those 1 bedrooms have full kitchens, washer and dryer stackable in your room. And then you've also got a dedicated bedroom for you. So you've probably got a sleeper sofa in the living room, and then there's going to be a door that closes for a queen size bed. 2 bedrooms are just as kind of what I mentioned before. Full kitchen, a little bit larger. You're going to have a sleeper sofa, probably a trundle bed that pulls out in the living room. Then you're also going to have a bedroom with 2 double queens and then a king bed. So those rooms can typically sleep about 8 or 9, depending upon which resort that you've booked. And then your 3 bedrooms are called the grand villas, the 3-bedroom grand villa. Those can sleep up to 12 or so. So just be aware of what you're booking and how often you're booking those bigger rooms, because while you can fit more people in, they're going to have significantly more points that they're going to be using. Let's see. So to buy in, you said 150 points at 210 a point, and a weekend could be anywhere up to 60 points. That doesn't leave you a lot of points per year. It doesn't. So you want to make sure of where you're vacationing, that it makes sense for the seasonality that you're vacationing, and if you are buying enough points in for what you're looking for. This is not a program that's going to work for everybody. It just happened to make sense for what we were doing. We were typically spending about 200, 250 or so a night in between 1 or 2 nights at one of the value resorts. And I can tell you our loan payment for the very first one, when we bought 125 points at that point, was cheaper than paying out the money every month that we were paying to stay in a value resort. So it worked out that way. Is there a minimum night stay ever? Nope. Just a one night. You can stay one night, you can stay 2 nights. You can do what we call resort hopping, where you can stay at a different resort each night. We've done that too. We love it. So totally flexible and up to you. Now, you do want to recognize that if you're going to set up dining or lightning lanes, that if you resort hop, those are totally separate reservations. So be aware of that. Disney allows you to do your dining 60 days plus 10, so up to a 10-day stay for those that have a resort reservation. If you resort hop, it's technically a second reservation, so it might cut your stay in half if you're doing a split stay and resort hopping. So be aware of that. So you basically cannot stay anywhere until you start saving tons of points. Well, it depends. So Robin, we could stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge for 8 points a night, potentially, as a family of 4. So on 150 points, you can do that relatively, quickly and easily. If you are wanting to stay at Disney's Boardwalk Inn or Beach Club, those are typically about 12 to 17 points a night. So that one's a one that you'll see us at quite often. If you want to stay at the Grand Floridian Resort, those can typically be about 30 points a night. So you won't see us there quite as often, just because of the differences in the points there. Good question. Definitely not interesting for me. I'd come 3 to 4 times a week. That would cost a fortune. Yeah, absolutely. I can understand that. Ooh, Stacy, you're getting into some good questions here. Can you use the points on a cruise line? So let me caveat that, and I will say yes. However, the only way to use your points outside of your home resort is if you own points directly with Disney. So when I say directly with Disney, it means that you must purchase your initial buy-in for Disney Vacation Club with Walt Disney Travel Company directly, like either on site, through the phone, through the website. You have to buy through them. There are going to be tons of places like the DVC store, DVC buy and sell, that do resales for Disney Vacation Club contracts. You can absolutely purchase through them, and you can absolutely save you a crap ton of money. However, Disney has changed their policies on that and says that those that are buying resale now do not get as many perks as those that are buying directly from Walt Disney. So that being said, make your investment wisely, choose what's available to you and what works for you. We know of a lot of people that go and buy their initial purchase, the minimum, just to get in with Disney directly, and then they go and buy multiple other contracts through the resale market. Now, Disney will allow you to use your points outside of your home resort when you buy direct. And the only caveat to that is going to be the Riviera Resort. So we're going to put that one on hold for just a hot second. So put on, bubble here. when you buy in for Disney Vacation Club, you can choose resort stays at your home resort, the resort that you put on that deed, up to 11 months before you are set to come in. So you can make those reservations up to 11 months out. That's why when you're booking on the consumer sites or you're booking through a travel agent, you typically won't see these villas uh, or these Disney Vacation Club room availability until a few months after that, because they have to have first dibs for those that have bought into the timeshare program. So 11 months out is the earliest you can make a reservation at your home resort. If, let's say, I own at Copper Creek and I want to go stay at the Boardwalk Villas, I can do so as long as there's availability, but I can't book that any earlier than 7 months out, because they want to make sure that they've got the availability there for those that have already bought that resort and call it their home resort. So 7 or 11 months out for your home resort, 7 months out for any other of the resorts. Stacy was asking about Disney Cruise Lines. If you have bought your points directly from Disney, yes, you can use your points for Disney Cruise Line. You can use your points for Aulani in Hawaii. You can use your points for Disneyland at Disney's Grand Californian, and I believe they're building a new DVC resort there as well out in California. You can use your points for Adventures by Disney, and you can use your points for an exchange program. I believe it's Interval International or RCI. So you'll pay a small exchange fee. I think it's $200 or so. And then they'll exchange those points into one of those international programs. So you can go all over the world if you want to with that. They call that the Disney Collection. But you're only able to do those kinds of exchanges outside of Walt Disney World if you've bought those points directly from Disney. All right, I'm going to pull Riviera back into the mix here. So Disney's Riviera Resort was kind of the guinea pig for a lot of things. When they announced that the Riviera Resort was going to be sold, there was a stipulation to that said, if you buy the Disney's Riviera Resort points and you do not buy directly from Disney and you buy that on a resale, the only caveat to that is we'll let you buy that, but you can only ever use those points on resale for Riviera Resort directly. That's it. We're not going to give you access to the other Walt Disney World resorts with that. We're not going to give you access for Disney Cruise Line, Aulani, Disneyland, Adventures by Disney, or that exchange program. So that's the only caveat to that, is the Riviera as of right now. We're hoping that that kind of goes away with the other programs as they introduce new Disney Vacation Club options, but I don't know that that's going to be the case. I think that they're trying to cut down, I think, a lot on the resale folks, because they've had a lot of success in being able to buy and resell contracts that way. Ooh, more questions. Okay. So what's, in your opinion, the best for only my husband and I, just the two of us? Oh, so many options, Barbara. The Riviera Resort also has a special room called a Tower Resort, Tower Studio, and it's a sliver of a room, but I'm telling you, it's like 10 points a night. But it's got a bathroom, it's got an itty bitty kitchenette with a coffee maker and a trundle bed. You just pull that bed down. There's not many of them, but they're very cheap on them. My husband and I, Jonathan and I, really like the Boardwalk Inn. We love the Yacht and Beach Club. We love the Polynesian. It's probably one of our favorites. Animal Kingdom is a great resort to stay at as well. Let's see. We like the contemporary, the Bay Lake Tower, but it's just not been our favorite. It's a little bit more modern than what we like. But there's a lot of really good resorts. The Boardwalk, just because there's a lot of nice adult entertainment between Jelly Rolls and the Atlantic Dance Hall, and then having that boardwalk filled with the Midway games and being able to stroll there. The Riviera you can't really go wrong with because it's just so brand new and it's gorgeous. Animal Kingdom, obviously having all of those animals out definitely helps, and it helps keep you there at the resort so you don't feel like you have to go out to the parks. Robin said, during non-peak times, do you know how many points for a night at Hawaii? Hawaii points are cheap. I think they're about 16 points a night. That's why we've been saying we're going to Aulani as soon as we can. It's just a matter of affording the flights out there. So we'll get there. We'll get there one day. But yeah, those points at Aulani are stinking cheap. Like they're crazy cheap. Even the bigger rooms are only like 30 points a night. But that's kind of the appeal to get you to come out. They know they've got to be cheaper on the points to get people to come out from so far away. Hey, JK, how are you? How did I get all this info? Did I work for Disney? No, we just did a lot of homework whenever we started having conversations about Disney Vacation Club. So that, yes, Old Key West Resort is a really nice one too, for sure. But we did our homework. So I knew a lot about it. I had been to a presentation with my mom on it years before. And then when my husband had a chance to kind of go in with me and settle down and look at everything, it just kind of solidified, and we got a lot of our questions answered at those meetings because we wanted to understand fully what we were getting ourselves into. We understood the overview and how the process worked and how we could exchange and things of that nature. But there were a lot of smaller things that we had details on or details missing about that we wanted to make sure that we had answered before we decided to agree to anything. So yeah, if you decide to get rid of your membership, you can always go and give it up to Disney. They'll make you an offer for it. They'll work out the purchase agreements. If that's not your speed and you're looking to kind of resell it, just as any other kind of residential sale, there are different property management groups and realtors that are designed to be able to assist you with those kinds of contracts and being able to pull those over to another owner. Now, because Disney has that right of first refusal on those contracts, even if you go through a third-party site, there's a stipulated time that Disney is allowed to kind of review the purchase contract. So you might have somebody agree to buy all your points from you for $98 a point. If Disney says, hey, I like that offer, I'll buy that contract from you for 98 points or $98 a point, Disney will take that contract and buy it from you for the same amount that you agreed upon with your new buyer. Just means your buyer is kind of out of luck. So be prepared for that if you're looking on the resale market and you're looking to purchase points that way, because Disney does have that stipulation there that it has to pass through their first refusal first before you are able to purchase that as a reseller. I think Kathy Quant had a question. Do Grand Floridian DVC rooms have a microwave, coffee maker, and fridge? And what's the difference between 2 queen beds or a studio or 1 bedroom? Does Polynesian have the same setup for rent? Okay, so the newest rooms at the Grand Floridian are more mocking a regular resort style room. So you're going to have a small, I call a wet bar, kind of a coffee nook area, and then the 2 resort type beds. So they literally just took 2 buildings that were from their regular resort inventory and made them Disney Vacation Club rooms. Spoiler, Disney's Polynesian Village Resort did that with 3 of their buildings as well. They just made them a little bit bigger because those rooms do fit 5. So if you're looking at one of the newer rooms for the Grand Floridian, know that that's going to be the case. The Grand Floridian does have options for a deluxe studio, a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or a 3-bedroom grand villa. Just depends on what you're booking. And those can range anywhere between 4 people or 5 people per room on the deluxe studios, all the way up to 12 people in the 3-bedroom grand villas. And how do I rent DVC points to stay at what the Grand Floridian is? What's the pricing? So I'm always going to advise folks that are looking to get into the Disney Vacation Club program. I've had lots of even my own clients that repetitively come to Disney. They're like, there's got to be a better way to doing this. And I feel that. And if I feel like that's a match for the way that you're showing me that you vacation at Walt Disney World, or if this sounds like you and you find yourself coming once, twice a year, or every other year potentially, this might be a program that works for you. If you come every 3 years or so, this might not work out so well for you. But if you're interested in renting points, which I highly recommend before you make that initial jump into the investment for buying Disney Vacation Club, you can rent them from several reputable companies online. Unless you have someone that you personally know and trust, I highly, highly, highly advise that you make sure that you know those rules before you sign on any dotted lines and hand over any money, because most of those renting are going to be non-refundable. So just know by the time that you hand over money, you're probably not going to be refunded if you have to cancel or completely change your dates. Okay. So the way it works is Those companies will ask you to put in your dates that you're looking for, how long you're looking to stay, and how many people, and give you, a preference on certain resorts. They work with many Disney Vacation Club owners to say, okay, who's got this resort available on these days and this kind of room can fit this many people. And then those owners will say, I do, I've got that, or I can make that accommodation, and then they'll put them in front of you. Most of them will rent to you for about half of what it would cost you out of pocket for a cash room, half to about 75% of that room. They usually rent for about $16 to $18 per point per night. So if you kind of want to figure that up, I know David's Dvc Rentals is a really good one. There's another one here, and maybe it is dvcrental.com, but there's another one that's very, very reputable. Just make sure that you're taking into consideration different kinds of testimonials and reviews for each of these companies. Or if you have someone that you personally know that has said, hey, I don't mind you using my points, or if you want to rent them from me, that you know the drill there, because a lot of time there's not going to be a whole lot of wiggle room to move your entire set of dates like there would be with the regular resort rooms. So a lot of those are kind of set in stone when you book them, and non-transferable, non-refundable. So just make sure that you're aware of that. Hi, Joanna. How are you? Let's see. Jay says, is there a lot of buyer's remorse? I think that's one of the things that we said that we'd touch on was, is there anything that we would do differently? And quite honestly, if I had known what I know now, we probably would not have bought Riviera. They're the only resort that has not been very friendly to us. Most of the resorts that we go to, we can say, hey, because we're local, we can say, hey, we're going to eat, or we're going here, we're going, go to shop. They let us in, unless it's super busy on a weekend, and they just can't accommodate us for whatever reason. Riviera Resort has never let us in unless we have a confirmed resort stay or like a Topolino's dining. If we said we wanted to just go and get their quick service or go and search, for some different kinds of merch, there was a Loungefly bag I was after for several months. Couldn't stay there. So I had to go and park at one of the parks and Skyliner over or bus over, which got, just a little bad taste in my mouth. So we could deal with the stipulation of if we ever resold it, the next buyer would have to only ever use those points at the Riviera. So I would say that would be a big thing into a buyer's remorse. But we've personally been looking into letting Disney potentially buy back our Riviera contract, just because they're just not as accommodating. I understand to a degree because it's such a small area to park in, but at the same time, we're owners, we don't get that treatment anywhere else. But in terms of buyer's remorse, I think we did a really great job discussing it between ourselves, if this was a good investment for us and a good idea, and for the way that we vacationed. We've got that option there if we ever want to resell it, either back to Disney or privately through a third party. So I say no as far as the buyer's remorse. I'm sure there are plenty of people that do. I know that there's plenty of people that have gotten in situations where they've been, upside down on their financials and said, hey, we just can't afford this anymore. And Disney's been very accommodating and trying to help them out and make sure that they were able to buy that back as high as possible, so they weren't paying a whole lot in closing costs out to be able to take that back from them. The only thing I wish that we had done differently was bought more points when we bought in, because the points have always every year gone up. They're never going to go down. Now, it will be interesting because 1990 was the very first year that Disney Vacation Club started. So I'll be interested to see when Disney's old Key West resorts are completely up on their contracts, and Saratoga Springs Resort, I believe, is the second one. I'll be interested to see, once those first two resorts, their 50 years ends, what kinds of deals are made for the current owners, or if they're going to revamp that process and start from fresh. Because they're only 50-year contracts. So they've still got a few more years. I know a few years back, the old Key West owners, because they were the original, were allowed to extend theirs by like 5 or 10 years at a special rate. So I don't know if that's going to be the case, or if we're going to see a lot of contracts just completely come new and start selling again. So it'll be definitely very interesting. Stacy said, I would so stay in a tiny room at Riviera. I don't take up a lot of space. Yeah, if you're like me and you're like, never mind, I just want to be out in the parks, it's a perfect room there. Sandy said that the Riviera was gorgeous too. I second that. I second that. They took us up to the 3-bedroom grand villas when we bought our Riviera contract, and there's a doorbell for it. It actually was bigger than our first home that we ever bought. And there's a doorbell with 2 entrances, like on the same hallway. And when you ring the doorbell, it plays "Be Our Guest." So they had me like from the doorbell. I was like, all you had to do was like ring the doorbell, and I was ready to sign the paperwork. Stacy said, that's why I like Pop Sandy. I go over and enjoy the Riviera, pretend I'm staying there. Listen, it is just a hop, skip, and a jump away. Now, there are going to be certain caveats to that. Now, right now, there's lots of member perks, right? So membership extras are what they call them. So there are certain things like discounts. So it mimics the same discount as an annual pass holder right now, which I believe is a 10% discount. There's lots of dining locations where we get discounts out. Discounts on merchandise dining. You've seen us go to the Moonlight Magic parties. So those are special after hours events that are reserved specific for Disney Vacation Club owners. You'll hear a lot of talk if you dive into all of the Disney Vacation Club craziness about a blue card member or a white card member. Blue card members are the members that bought their contracts directly from Disney. So any current, and I say current emphasis, any current membership extras that are being offered by Disney fall to all those that bought direct options through Disney Vacation Club. If you find yourself buying retail and solely retail, some of those extra benefits are not always extended to you as a resale member. So be aware of that. There are certain classes, or there used to be pre-COVID, pre-closures that they do at the resorts. So there's cooking classes, there's painting classes, all those different things. And I think we've seen them on some of the resort tours. They've opened them up for other offerings for resort guests or just guests that are looking to be at the resort at those certain times. But used to, those were only Disney Vacation Club offerings. And then as of right now, they've reopened the Top of the World Lounge, which is the very top lounge of the Bay Lake Tower. It's the kind of half moon crescent circle tower right beside the Contemporary Resort. And even though that is exclusively only available for members that are staying on property currently using their membership, if you go to the Top of the World Lounge right now, I believe you have to buy the package to get up there. But it's a wonderful place to see the fireworks. I think they're doing a villains themed party up there. I'd love to get up there when we have the opportunity to, but we have to be actually staying and using our points. Another perk to that is while we're using our points, we don't pay any parking fees. So as a member using points, or if you're renting points, you will not pay any kind of per night parking, which helps with us because we're local and we drive. If you're flying in, that might not be as much of a perk to you, but obviously it is for us because these are deluxe resorts, and paying $25 or $30 a night for parking isn't as ideal. If you're staying at some of the deluxe resorts right now, there are options, I believe, on Mondays and Wednesday nights at Magic Kingdom and Epcot for the extra magic hours at the end of the evening, the extended evening hours, I think is really what they're calling them. And those are only available to those staying at deluxe resorts. So because you're staying on a Disney Vacation Club room at a deluxe resort, those hours are extended to you. So there's lots of different kinds of extras that are offered as a Disney Vacation Club member that aren't typically offered to regular pass holders or regular visiting day guests. They serve a great quick service breakfast. They sure do. I love their quick service there at the Riviera. Luxury is good. I hear that for sure. What resort has the best pools? Beach Club has a good reputation. Jay, they do. So I'm glad I mentioned that because I meant to mention that earlier. If you are staying at a resort, Disney Vacation Club members used to be able to pool hop. Now that was prior to the closures. They've not reopened that up. But used to, you could come and stay at Pop Century and decide to go to Art of Animation and go and use their pool, or Riverside or French Quarter where we were at earlier. You just show them your card and they'll let you into go to the pool there. As of right now, they're asking that you only use the pool where you've booked your resort reservation. But when pool hopping was allowed, Beach Club was one of those that you could not pool hop. Polynesian was one of those that you could not pool hop. Animal Kingdom was one of those that would not allow you to pool hop. And I think it was Grand Floridian and Contemporary, Bay Lake Tower. But there were 4 or 5 of them that you just could not go to the other resorts' pools, even if you were a Disney Vacation Club member and had those pool hopping privileges. I'm hoping to see those come back because my kids would really appreciate the pool, but we'll see in time. Yeah, so if you want benefits, you buy directly through Disney. Now, I will caveat that again and say those benefits are ever changing. So we're seeing things taken away from us, we're seeing things added, we're seeing things return. It just depends on what Disney's willing to allow, so to speak. Oh, sorry, I had more slides here. I'm so sorry. So here's kind of a look at the Riviera Room. Okay, so you can see the queen size bed. This is a Queen Murphy sleeper sofa. This kind of like folds down. You just move the furniture up and out of the way. All of the Disney Vacation Club rooms are going to have a balcony. So if you'll take special notice there of the window, each of those rooms has an outside balcony. It's going to be a little bit smaller, but it's there. And then right up underneath here under the TV is a trundle bed. So that just folds down, and that's how they sleep 5. You used to be able to pool hop even off property. Yep, absolutely. We went to Vero and used the pool there while staying at Saratoga Springs. Oh, you drove all the way to Vero? I'm so sorry. I missed that. If you are part of that Disney collection where I said you could go to Disneyland or you could go to Aulani, I did miss Hilton Head by Disney. There's a Disney's Hilton Head Island Resort that you can use Disney Vacation Club points for, and the same thing for Disney's Vero Beach Resort. It is a lovely room, isn't it? So this is a deluxe studio setup. This is the points chart, and I'll see what I can do to kind of blow that up for you as well. So this is specific for Disney's Riviera Resort. So if you were staying Sunday through Thursday in a tower studio that sleeps 2, 9 points each night. If you wanted a deluxe studio that sleeps up to 5, the standard view rooms are here in kind of the lighter tan, and the peach color is P for preferred. So that means it's going to be closer to the main building or the main food, and you're going to see a more grandiose view. And preferred at Riviera is an overview of like the lake leading over to Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort. So if you wanted to look at the weekly amounts, if you wanted a standard view in a deluxe studio for an entire week, and we're talking like Sunday through Saturday, 104 points, 129 if you wanted preferred. If you go up to the 1-bedroom villa, which doesn't give you anything more than just in-room laundry and a little bit more space between all of you, 220 or 279. That's why you see a lot more people booking these deluxe studio rooms. But if you have a larger party and then in the 2-bedroom villa sleeps up to 9, let's say I only had 150 points. If I wanted to borrow from the next year's points, I could do that and stay for an entire week in a 2-bedroom for up to 9 people for 293 or 291 points. But that means I have no points for the next year. So my options are either buy more points or borrow from the next year once the next year comes around. And let's see, what's my next one here? So there's also the Disney Vacation Club Lounge in Epcot. I'm sure you all have probably seen me up there a time or two, but they give complimentary drinks up there. There are complimentary snacks. There are complimentary charging stations for phones and devices. What's the least crowded time to go to Walt Disney World? I normally in the past would have said August or September. Those are trending to be busier times now. So my favorite least busiest time is either January or February. You see a lot of ride refurbishments then, but there's a lot less crowd levels then. Yeah, and we touched on Dvc Moonlight Magic. So that was one of those that was offered specifically this year for the after hours events just for Disney Vacation Club folks. They had the rides open, they had exclusive character meet and greets, they had complimentary popcorn buckets, snack entitlements that you could use throughout the rest of the park through the night, and then unlimited Mickey ice cream bars and the strawberry fruit bars as well. So yeah, and they've got different kinds of merch there, you know, if you want to kind of distinguish yourself as a vacation club member. Let's see. What's your favorite restaurant? Oh man. So if you ask me my absolute favorite restaurant at Walt Disney World, it's probably Ohana at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. It's probably my absolute favorite. Yeah. I can never get tired of it. I wish I could, but I can't. So yeah. Any other questions about Disney Vacation Club? I know I kind of like racked your brain with a bunch of information here. Good answer. Judy's on board for that one too. What's my favorite restaurant in each park? Okay, so Magic Kingdom, my favorite table service restaurant is the Crystal Palace. Epcot, my favorite table service restaurant used to be San Angel Inn. I think it's Garden Grill restaurant now, because I was not pleased with the San Angel Inn the last time that we ate, and that has been since it has reopened from the closures. Animal Kingdom, my favorite table service restaurant there. And it's really not even a table service because I do like Tusker House, but quick service, really. Flame Tree Barbecue is probably my favorite. And then Hollywood Studios, my favorite table service there has got to be Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater, but it's very hard to get reservations there. Oh, you're welcome. Guys, offline, if you have any questions that you kind of form or you want to know more about it, or if you're looking for resources to rent points or just kind of bouncing questions off, please don't hesitate a bit to send us a message there on Facebook or DM on Instagram or whatever it be, an email. I'm happy to answer your questions. I've got a wonderful guide. We have a wonderful guide that we actually got to see on our Disney Cruise Line. Our guide was physically on the cruise with us. So when we took our Disney cruise, as Vacation Club members, they asked us to stop by their desk every day, and they gave us super cool presents every single day. They gave us bags, they gave us specific lanyards, they gave us a little lithograph of the Riviera Resort. Let's see, what else did they give us? They gave us buttons to show how long we had been with Disney Vacation Club and just kind of distinguished us separately there. So there's a lot of extra recognitions that you get for being a Disney Vacation Club member. Yeah, there's lots to think about. I just wish we'd probably bought some more points in on the initial investment because they've only ever gone up. They've not went down. So we see that trending to go up, and then they pushed their initial buy-in for a lot higher than what we initially got into. Ooh, good question, Judy. Is it difficult to get the time that you want? So yes and no. I will say yes and no. There are going to be certain locations, certain resorts that are going to be harder to get than others. I realize that I said that earlier now, and I said that I would come back to it. When you choose your home resort, I say it doesn't matter because you're still going to get the perks no matter what if you're buying directly from Disney to all of the resorts. If it really matters to you about where you stay the majority of the time, you want to ask Disney if you're purchasing directly from them about a legacy contract. And that's going to be different contracts at other resorts that are not currently being sold. And that might allow you the opportunity to buy at Boardwalk Inn if it's not what they're currently, selling as the resort's on sale at that point in time. You might have to wait. You might get put on a wait list until somebody gives their resort up. But if you you just want to book the Boardwalk all the time and that's your go-to resort and you have to have it at 11 months out because you want to make sure that guaranteed availability is there, then that's what you need to go for. That's the first home resort that you need on that deed for you. That being said, the way we vacation is a little different. We tend to just kind of look for a day or so here or there. There seems to be quite a bit of availability and it's ever changing. You can even cancel a reservation up until the day before without penalty. It just kind of goes into a holding period on your points. So even the night before, we've changed resorts completely, just depending on what we wanted, or picked something up for the next night. Stacy asked, if we were to buy in, would you get anything if we use your name as a recommendation? Yeah, so if you want to continue on this conversation, I've got a referral code that I can offer to you. It just lets them know, hey, you all talked with Myranda and we know that they're members and we know that you're looking to become a member. So if and when you do, there might be some perks in it for both of us. That would be awesome. Yeah. I can post that in the comments there underneath this, maybe on the Facebook page or something here. That's awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah. But if you got any other questions, feel free to let me know. I know I've probably hit you like a brick wall with all the information here. If it all kind of meshed together, I'm sorry. My thought process kind of, I had an agenda, and it all kind of went to mush. But feel free to re-reference the stream if you want to. Pick it apart, ask me more questions. Like I said, if it's not something I can answer for you, I'm happy to get an answer for you on that. So I do. I talk fast, Jay. You're not the only one to tell me that, and I'm losing my voice again. So I can feel that, and I think that made me talk faster. So my apologies there. Hopefully, I'll be better for tomorrow's stream. I think we're back out in the parks tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for joining us. I'm so glad that you got to see us here. Hopefully, you've hit that subscribe button. Wink, wink. Turn your notifications on. I believe we're out riding some rides tomorrow. Hopefully during the day, so that way it doesn't rain on us. But yeah, all good info, right? I hope so. I hope it was helpful. But thank you all so much for joining me, taking some time out of your afternoon, and for this morning too, on our resort tour. So that was super fun. Like I said, we're out at the parks again tomorrow. But I think at this point, I'm just going to go and try and rest my voice and see if we can get back out tomorrow and scream it away again. You're very welcome, Sandy. I'm so glad you all could join me. But don't hesitate a bit to pick my brain on this anytime, you guys. I know it's something that we've been talking about for a long time, and I've been promising it to you. This won't be our only conversation around Disney Vacation Club and around the timeshare membership and timeshare program. So I'm sure we'll be doing this, a couple more months or so as we see some new faces and we're growing here too. Oh, thank you, Barbara. I appreciate it. But take care, guys. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.